Hello horror fans and welcome back to the Scariest channel on YouTube, top 5 scary videos, that tumultuous place of terrifying tailorship where fear rules with an iron titanic grip. It's a pleasure being here as always, delivering you all some of the most nightmare inducing content that popular culture can muster. As per usual, I'll be your host Jack Finch, as we turn on the television, gleefully put our feet up and hear the soft scratching of fingernails behind us, and take a look at 5 of the scariest American horror story characters ever. Roll the clip.
But you'll have to earn your keep, clown. Come, find a toy.
Before we begin guys, you know the drill by now. If you're a fan of this video or just top 5 scary in general, then be a dear and hit that thumbs up button, and while you're down there, why don't you hit that subscribe bell too, so you can stay up to date with our latest and greatest uploads. American Horror Story, created by the seminal Ryan Murphy, first hit our screens in October 2011, and since then has gone on to produce 7 sublime seasons: Murder House, Asylum, the best one, Coven, Freak Show, Hotel, Roanoke and Cult, with the 8th season, Apocalypse, premiering on September the 12th. Throughout this hoard of horrific television, we've been treated to some of the most terrifying, monstrous characters that we've seen in a long time. Some of which are pretty damn scary, and some that are just downright cool, like Papa Legba and the Countess, who would have made this list if not for their charmingly creepy charisma. Instead, we're relegated to the deep, dark depths of Murphy's mind and the strange, twisted monsters that lurk there. So let's jump in. Kicking off at number 5, the INFANTATA. Whew, boy, probably should have nipped the number 1 spot, but we're starting out strong with this guy. Thaddeus Montgomery, aka the INFANTATA, although never explicitly referred to as so in the show, has some of the best costume work and character design that we've seen in a long time. It's horrific. In the show's Murder House canon, Thaddeus is a creature crafted from the pieced together remains of Charles and Nora Montgomery's child, who was tragically killed and murdered before the events of the show. Its father and resurrector, Dr. Charles Montgomery, was a surgeon who performed abortions in the basement of his house during the 1920s in an attempt to dissuade his family's financial distress. Long story short, this led to his baby son Thaddeus being murdered and then pieced back together in some weird Frankenstein-esque manner after being delivered back to him in jars. It's a familiar device used in many cautionary tales throughout Gothic history: the fear of loss and reanimation, and the finality of death. The INFANTATA is a bizarre amalgamation of all of these, and its twisted, vile teeth and monstrous talons on the backdrop of a toddler do a terrific job at portraying so. Coming in at number 4, the Butcher. I'm not going to lie, ever since her depiction in the film adaptation of Stephen King's Misery, I've been absolutely terrified of Kathy Bates, and happily so, because she's an actor that portrays horror like no other. She has that perfect blend of genteel abrasiveness that gets right under your skin. She can snap at any moment. Well, you know who nails that more? Susan Berger, because I didn't believe anyone could be more terrifying than Kathy Bates, and I was very wrong. 2 for the price of 1, people. In season 6's Roanoke, a lot of weird meta stuff goes down, films within documentaries within television shows, but despite all that, the Butcher was some real scary stuff. In the show, she's a decaying colonial monster ghost covered in blood who seemingly has no problem slaughtering men by the dozen. She sold her soul to the equally terrifying druidic witch Scathatch, who played her under the curse of the October blood moon, meaning, you guessed it, more sacrifices. She just can't stop killing in that season. Next up at number 3, James March. Born James Patrick March on October 30th, 1895, this serial killer is the seminal antagonist of season 5, portrayed by the fantastic Evan Peters. On the surface, James March isn't much compared to the twisted entities that make up this list, but it's what's bubbling below the surface that makes him all the more terrifying. March has a distinct sadistic personality, finding pleasure in releasing a deadly rage onto his victims, waging a nihilistic war through murder. He's also incredibly charming, which makes the juxtaposition that much more twisted. He's also best friends forever with real-world serial killers like Eileen Wuornos and Jeffrey Dahmer. Talking of real-world serial killers, James March is actually based on Herman Mudgett, aka H.H. Holmes, a halcyon American mass murderer that we've covered quite a few times on this channel, and was reportedly responsible for up to 250 murders throughout the 19th century. Yikes. Swinging in at number 2, Dandy Mott. Again, we may as well stick with the trend of charming psychopath now that we're talking about them, and this guy takes the cake. Dandy Mott, the unbridled undercurrent of season 4's freak show. We could say a lot about Dandy Mott, played by the awesome Finn Wittrock, but a lot of the horror portrayed by this character is the dichotomy between beauty and pain, love and rage, and the emotionally disturbed psychology of a young man who has everything but just can't seem to fill the void inside. I'd go so far as to say that Dandy Mott is one of the more strikingly accurate portrayals of a true cinematic psychopath, along the lines of Christian Bale in American Psycho and Norman Bates in Psycho. You get the picture. Dandy Mott is a spoiled man-child, often enjoying children's toys and throwing tantrums should his desires not be met. That's terrifying, right? Or is it just me? Anyway, enough about my own fears, because the real terror of season 4 comes when Dandy Mott meets his mentor in all things murder. And number 1 point, Twisty the Clown. Twisty. The reason that for me made season 4 of American Horror Story the most enjoyable series to watch. Yeah, the plot wasn't anything compared to season 2 or the pure nostalgic joy of season 3, but in terms of creature feature, Twisty the Clown took the top spot. Portrayed by John Carroll Lynch, who has the perfect cold, dead eyes to pull off a murderous demonic clown, Twisty is a disgraced children's entertainer who blew off his lower jaw with a shotgun, leading to his iconic wide-grin prosthetic mask, and his penchant for stealing children to keep them safe, in inverted commas, from their own parents. There's a lot going on with Twisty. For one, on the surface he's based on Stephen King's Pennywise the Clown from his fantastic novel It. He also shares a very similar psychology to Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, an almost childlike behemoth seemingly motivated by the pain inflicted on him in his formative years. There's also the real world implications of Twisty being based on real life serial killer John Wayne Gacy, who regularly dressed as Pogo the Clown to perform at children's birthday parties. Maybe it just strikes a nightmarish chord in chorophobics, or is generally something innately terrifying that we should all be scared of. Don't trust clowns, I guess, or not the murderous ones at least. Well, what do you guys think? Who freaked you out the most in American Horror Story? Are you excited for season 8 Apocalypse? Speak your mind in the comment box down below. As per usual guys, it's been an absolute pleasure making this video for you all. If you're a fan of it or just top 5 in general, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe bell so you can stay up to date for your daily dose of horror. You've been watching Top 5 Scary Videos. I've been your host Jack Finch, and until next time, take it easy.